Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Florida Weather Watch YouTube channel. Yes, I am finally back to YouTube after taking the past couple months of really focus on my career, focus on teaching my students and coaching our illustrious debate team over the past few months. But now that it is winter break, I am making a commitment to return to YouTube and try to be more consistent. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daniel. Welcome back to the Florida Weather Watch YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining. Please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that like button down below, and also feel free to comment with any questions, concerns, any comments you have. I always love taking questions, especially about weather, as my goal is not only am I a weather hobbyist, but I'm also an educator. So I really like to help people understand what is going on in the world of weather. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the big changes that are ahead for all of Florida. As ladies and gentlemen, get ready for winter to come to Florida and stay in Florida. And that's kind of weird. I'm saying stay in Florida. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a long period of much cooler weather across the entire state, all the way down into the Keys, ladies and gentlemen. That will start tomorrow. So let's take a look right now at our contributing factors to this situation here. You'll notice on this is the visible satellite imagery, the latest updated visible satellite imagery from the National Hurricane Center. And you can see the graphics are phenomenal with this upgraded satellite imagery. And you'll notice that I'm kind of having it slow down so that you can better see the elements in place. Okay, so the big thing that you're going to notice on this view right here is this pinwheel of a system here over the central United States. That is an area of low pressure that has really become well defined. It almost looks as if it's would be a tropical storm if it had this been over the water and been during hurricane season, but it's not. But what that is going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is it is going to usher in some much colder weather on the backside. So on the backside of this, there is some pretty cold weather that is going to filter in from Canada and across Texas. And when this low uh, ends up ends up getting ejected, so to speak, when this low starts to dig in this direction and then move up the east coast of the United States, all this cool air is going to come behind it. And it is going to stay for quite some time. I'm going to show you some of the forecasts, and it's going to be pretty impressive, ladies and gentlemen. But the first thing that we got to deal with, for at least for South Florida, not so much northern Florida, but South Florida, is there's a bit of an area of low pressure that's developing over the southern Gulf here. So tomorrow, Thursday, what you're going to see is as this area of low pressure gets kicked out, you're going to see this area of low pressure move out into the Atlantic, and it will start coming up into this area. And the Northeast is going to have quite another storm system ahead of them coming up. But for us down here in South Florida, this is going to bring some rainfall tomorrow, maybe heavy at times, mostly in the late morning to early evening hours, and then it quickly will leave the picture. So all these elements together are finally going to bring us an extended period of much cooler weather for the state of Florida. So let me go ahead and clear that all out. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and switch over to the latest forecast temperatures here. Okay, so this is for tomorrow this is for tomorrow morning. You're going to notice that there's going to be uh, some there's going to be some much cooler temperatures across the state of Florida. 40s across the panhandle, 50s across the entire state. except 60s, lower 60s on the immediate southeast coast. Then what you're going to notice is on Thursday afternoon, look at that. Thursday afternoon for the entire uh, part of the northern part of Florida here, look at that. Afternoon high temperatures tomorrow will not get out of the 60s across all of north and central Florida. There may be a few lower 70s across the southeast part of the state here, where West Palm Beach is maybe 70 degrees, Miami 72. But this is going to be the beginning of the changes in Florida. Okay, and then what we're going to see is when we step it out through um, Friday morning, look at that. Widespread 30s across northern Florida here. You're going to see 40s all the way in northeast Florida. You're going to see a camp of 50-degree temperatures all the way down into South Florida here. Yes, folks, this cool air will finally reach South Florida. And I know people in South Florida have been craving for it. Unless you're a true South Floridian that doesn't like cold weather, then I'm sorry. But it's January, folks, and well, it's going to be January, and this is the time of year where we should be getting this cooler weather. And then this is for Friday afternoon. Highs not even getting out of the 50s in northern Florida, not even getting out of the 60s in central Florida. And then the big change happens on Saturday night here, where widespread 30s across northern Florida, all the way down to near Daytona. We got 40s across central Florida, dipping down even into potentially the Everglades of South Florida. And then we go into Sunday, and this is Saturday, and this is the big change. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, don't adjust your screens. Afternoon highs in South Florida on Saturday will only be in the mid 60s. That is not usual for South Florida, but it will be a much welcome change from all the heat and humidity that we dealt with throughout the year. Yes, South Florida, all the way down to the Keys, will not get out of the 60s on Saturday afternoon. That is true. That is incredible to think about. And 50s for high temperatures on Saturday afternoon across northern Florida here. Much colder weather comes on Saturday into Sunday for the state of Florida. And then the minimum temperatures, this is where you get some really cold air. You're probably going to get some freezes for sure. Up in the northern parts of Florida here. Gainesville, 33 degrees on Sunday morning at 7 a.m. This is going to be a good drop in temperatures across the state. 40s all the way inland to South Florida here. The southeast coast of Florida naturally is the warmest place in Florida because of the influence of the oceans here and the warmer water of the ocean. But even still, getting down to the low 50s in these areas. And then on Sunday afternoon, same story. No area in Florida will have temperatures getting out of the 60s on Sunday afternoon. And then Sunday night, cold yet again for Florida. Maybe not as cold as the previous night. 40s widespread across Florida, except 50s along the coastline. Pretty much anywhere that's inland, at least 10 to 15 miles away from the coastline, will be in the 40s at night on Saturday, Sunday, and going into Monday morning. And then Monday afternoon, we get a little bit of a rebound of temperatures, only to 71 in Miami on Monday afternoon. So this is, like I told you, this is going to be an extended spell of cooler weather. And then another surge of cold air will come through on Tuesday. And then you could see that really well here. Only mid 50s for highs in northern Florida on Tuesday afternoon. That will surge further southward behind another cold front that will come through. And the last view I want to show you is I want to show you this model here, the European model. And as I go ahead and step this through time, you're going to see starting on Thursday evening, look how much colder than normal these temperatures are. So what this is showing you is the uh, differences between what is the average temperature for this time of the year and what will be the actual temperature. And look at these differences of 15 possibly 13 degrees lower than normal across the Florida Peninsula going into Saturday. Going into this is Saturday morning at 7 o'clock. Look at Saturday afternoon, widespread 13 to 15 degrees below normal across the Florida Peninsula for Saturday afternoon. And just look at that blue and even that purple that shows up down in Fort Lauderdale. 21 degrees below normal temperatures for Sunday morning at 7 o'clock in Fort Lauderdale. It is going to be significantly colder than average, and this cool air stays going into Monday. And then Tuesday, look at that. Another reinforcing shot of cool air comes through the peninsula going into Wednesday of next week. This is going to be an extended period of much cooler weather for Florida, where many of the days starting tomorrow, many areas in Florida will not get out of the 60s, and many areas won't see the 70s until maybe next weekend. So this is going to be a much cooler than normal situation across all of Florida. Welcome winter. Winter is going to be here to stay for at least a week, starting on Thursday, starting tomorrow, after we get through some rain showers across South Florida tomorrow afternoon. So the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is get ready for the cool weather. It will be here to stay many days, and every single night will be in the 50s across much 40s and 50s, I should say, across much of Florida for the next 7 days, starting tomorrow after tomorrow night. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, thank you very much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this weather forecast. Get ready for winter coming through. Thank you very much for joining in my official return back to YouTube. I will be making more consistent videos. I promise you that is one of my New Year's resolutions. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, as I close out every single video from my late great cross-country coach, Jim Richardson, there will be weather or not. But whatever the weather will be, I'll be here keeping you ahead of the game. Have a fantastic week, and I will keep you updated as there's further developments with this cold weather outbreak that will be coming this week, going into next week for Florida.